This week on the podcast, myself and Ben got stuck into two bands that ended up sounding pretty similar to each other, and we definitely think one was influenced by the other. Uh, Ben gave me RX Bandits Resignation to listen to, and I dropped Captain We're Sinking. The Future is cancelled on Ben, not physically, just via the internet.
Mentally.
Uh, and we've decided that we're no longer going to look at song titles in this anymore because it doesn't work as a feature. Enjoy. I asked you to listen to Captain We're Sinking. The Future is
Yeah.
cancelled. What a grim name for an album. It does sound like they're going to be
Yeah,
really
keep it
depressing.
like that.
Yeah. Keep an eye
The
on
world's
that,
shit.
This is the end, the album. Hit me with it. What were you saying?
I love this. Straight in. Let's go. I think this is my favourite so far. I thought it was brilliant.
Yes.
So good, man.
Oh,
But
great. And you hadn't
the
heard it?
bombshell.
Oh, God,
Because
here we
the
go.
first song is sorry, I've written it down. Why can't I find it? Adultery, that's it. And as soon as that started, I was like, I know this song so well. Like, I've listened to this song
man.
multiple times, which is not the point of this podcast. But I assumed I knew the album, but actually, I sometimes get obsessed with one song by a band and don't listen to
Yeah, I do
anything
that.
else. But I think what I did with them was listen to the album after this. I knew some stuff off that as well, that I really liked. So I was like, oh, okay, I think I've got into that album, gone back a bit, heard Adultery, got into that, and then listened. So
Yeah.
definitely haven't heard the rest of it. So I think it still stands because I loved it. It's so
yeah.
good. Like, do you want some Captain We're Sinking facts? I've gone in too strong.
Oh, of course, because I actually know. I thought they just had one
Yeah.
album until I went on Spotify earlier, and it turns out it looks like there's two.
Yeah, I think maybe three. But I'm not sure if I
and
think
that-
this is the
there you
second
go.
one, so unless the debut was an EP or something. But
My knowledge is very poor.
let me
on
hit
these
you with some
boys.
great facts.
Do it. Someone recommended them
Yeah.
to me, and I listened to it. Absolutely loved it. And they've been a band I've not listened to the other album on.
Yeah,
Classic.
that's good. That's the one I'd
Just
heard.
this album, like you, just that Adultery and the actual The Future's
Yeah.
Cancelled song was just like, these are bangers, but like the
Oh,
whole album's
yeah,
great.
really
But,
good.
and then never did any research, never did any checking out of second albums,
We're
but
both really
listen to
bad
this
for
one
that,
on
aren't
repeat.
we?
I know. That's why we've
Yeah,
got a podcast, Ben.
it's good to be fair. It does make me look into shit, which I wouldn't know, because
Go on,
they're
fact
from
me.
Scranton, Pennsylvania, for a start. Which, if you're a
What?
US Office fan,
That's
Yeah.
what I just said. What,
it's
Scranton's
a real
place?
It's a real place. I
And
don't know where I was
B,
going with that. Actually, I don't have a B.
and B, with Captain We're
Yeah.
Sinking are from
And
Scranton.
so I love
Oh
that.
my
Do
God,
you know who
that's
else is
insane.
from Scranton? Not Jim Halpert. The Menzingers, Danny.
Are
Yeah,
you?
and
Is that somehow how I've heard of
well,
them? Maybe,
I assume it's
don't
quite a
know.
small place
Oh, go
because
on.
their wait, let me get this right. Their singer is the younger brother of the singer from the Menzingers, which
Right.
makes so much sense.
This
doesn't
makes
it?
sense.
I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because both are great
Oh,
bands.
100%. And they sort of sound, when I read that, I was like, they sound like the younger brothers of the Menzingers, which is like a little bit insulting. But please bear in mind, I loved this album. Like, it
Yeah.
felt like they were like a bit of a. They don't really sound like the Menzingers, and it feels like the Menzingers have much
No, I
more
agree.
like clarity of sound. Like they know exactly
Yeah,
what
these are
they
a bit
are.
more messy, aren't they?
And this album's a
Yeah,
bit
yeah.
more all over the shop, but not in a bad way at all. All sounds like the same band.
No, I agree.
They just obviously have
Yeah.
like more breadth of influence or whatever. But you can totally hear it, like, oh yeah, this is like the little like scamp version of Menzingers. And they never really sound like the Menzingers, which is odd. Like I think now I know it, his voice sounds like the guy, obviously sounds like the guy from the Menzingers.
Yeah,
But they
yeah.
never verge into that like Springsteen-y. That's sort of the one bit they avoid.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah, so I love that about the Menzingers. I do love
oh same man, yeah.
their anthemic bits.
Yeah.
Like, it's quite funny. I always every time I'm at a Menzinger show, their demographic is very
Oh
us.
yeah, 100%.
Like, it's everyone there is like three lads there, mates, 35 years
Yeah.
old, fisherman beanie on one of them, but the other one's got a beard. Like, the other one's got a record bag that's a tote bag. Like I could literally draw you a picture of,
Yeah.
and it's just clusters of all of that. It's like, you know, on like when they make Lord of the Rings and they do all the like the battle scenes. It's like someone just does that and copy pastes that like all over the gig. And I mean no harm by it because I am one of
I
those
think that's most
people.
of the gigs I go to,
Um,
really.
yeah,
It's
it
just a
probably
bit
is same
sad,
here as
isn't it?
well. It's
I sort of just wish
yeah,
this
it's
the,
proper.
the scene was more diverse, but we can't get into that now.
Yeah, but like I said, that's from a guy that goes to the Menzingers normally with two of his mates
Yeah,
that look exactly like them.
exactly.
But yeah, it is quite funny. It always makes me laugh.
Yeah,
I feel
but
like they've
yeah,
got
that's
a very
that is what I love about
stereotypical
the
audience.
Menzingers. I just found it interesting that they sort of don't veer into that at any point. I don't know if it's intentional. Like, yeah, I don't know. But they've got a lot of like connections, like Tiger's Jaw, who I don't know very well, but I've always known that name. Like they've always
I
been
know of
about. There's
them.
loads
Yeah,
of crossover there, like members, and then the old drummer in Captain We're Sinking was the brother of the other singer in Men Singers. So like the crossovers are ridiculous, like which is amazing. Like one of my favorite bands, and I was like, ah, that's so cool.
yeah, yeah.
And they're both from Scranton. So do you that just made me think? Do you think anyone in the office knows? If we're just to assume it is real for a second, do you think anyone in the office would know the Menzingers or like them? Like,
It's not an actual. It's not an actual documentary
yeah,
then.
but if we were to assume for a second it was, I was trying to
Oh
think
right, we're
who.
playing. If it was real,
Yeah, I was thinking
would
like I think Jim
anyone
would
listen to
maybe have gone to high
Jim?
school with them, but wouldn't be like you'd seen him a couple of times at gigs back in the day, but wasn't a huge
Yeah,
fan or anything.
I don't think anyone would be into that.
No,
I don't think in the
I don't
office.
think they would. It's a shame. It was a lovely little thought experiment I had.
Angela's a bit can be a bit
Yeah,
emo at
true.
times. I'm thinking maybe,
I think it's
but
like
again,
Phyllis's
she's a bit
nephew or
more crazy
something.
cat lady. Yeah,
Is the drummer in Captain We're Sinking.
yeah.
It sounds right.
It does sound right. And going from your research probably
Yeah,
is true.
exactly. Yeah, 100%. They have had a few drummers to be fair, so probably.
Have they?
But yeah, they formed in 2006, split up in 2018. Looks like they're back now, as most bands are, so that's nice.
Oh, cool. Oh, good.
And inspired by Against Me, Lawrence Arms, and RX Bandits.
See, I have
We're doing good
written.
podcasting.
I've written that down. I won't ruin. I won't ruin my
Yeah.
review.
Sorry,
But
just to be clear,
I,
that
I
was my
did
choice for
make.
Danny.
I
That's why
did
I've said it
make.
like that.
Yeah, yeah. I did make note after getting through the end of RX Bandits. I was like, oh, hang on a
Yeah,
minute, because I was like writing down about 7 bands where I was like, there's bands that I listen to that I'm like, oh, they definitely listen to
yeah,
this. Like, not even maybe they were influenced
yeah,
by, but like
100%.
this is all
Yeah,
they've listened
exactly.
to. So yeah, no, they're definitely influenced by, and it's cool. They said Against Me and Lawrence Arms, both bands, Against Me especially, that I
Yeah,
love. So yeah, I can tell why I instantly
yeah,
got into
definitely,
Captain Was
man.
Sinking.
Yeah, they've like done splits with Sprainard and Dowsing, who are both bands I love.
Oh,
Sprainard are so
Spraynard,
good, aren't they? So underrated, man. So it's
Mabel
just like
is
the
just like, oh,
yeah, all the pedigree basically is all there. All the bands they're connected
mm,
to is just great. It's like, of course, it was going to be good. And
strong.
it's brilliant. It's such a good
Yeah, yeah,
album.
yeah.
Um, let's have a look. Let's go through it. I would say it's
Go
weird because like I say, I got obsessed with Adultery. It's probably
on.
listening to the album. It's probably one of my least favourites now, which is odds. And I still really like it, but it feels almost a bit out of place. It's like really discordant and a bit like it's almost a bit like
Mm,
Dismemberment Planny or like Fugazi. That's
yeah,
horrible. Fugazi.
it is a bit more. I don't know the right. Oh, I don't know the PC term, but I always just say it's a bit more like I don't know, I was going to say it, but it's a bit more
Yeah,
spazzy in like how like, and I mean that like spasm, like it just kind of jumps from here to there, like kind of thing, like a bit not at the
yeah,
drive-in, but you know what I mean, a bit like it's got that element of that kind of
yeah. It's
punk
a lot more that
rocky,
sort of
whatever you wanted to call
post-hardcore.
that.
And it's
Yeah,
an absolute
and that's just
banger.
sprinkled in. I agree with you on that first song, but it is a
Yeah,
banger.
I
Yeah.
just don't know if it does the album justice. Like, kind of works as an opener because it's so like in your face, but then also I don't know if it sets you up for the
Hmm.
album particularly. But that's a
Yeah, I think you said about anthemic, or we were saying about that. I think the song straight after that, "Brother's" probably the only one that has that big
oh, it's such a
chorus.
banger, man. That's all I wrote for Brother.
Yeah, like
Banger.
it doesn't drop in first time
Yeah,
either. Like it kind of you're like, oh, this is going. It does like the first time you hear it, the first verse, and it goes into what is actually the pre-chorus, I'm going to guess. It doesn't go into the chorus, and then it drops into the are you okay bit, and that's just such a massive. I love it when bands do that. I love it when there's a massive payoff,
man.
like
Oh, it's so good. Yeah,
all
that
over
is
me,
such a
all
tune.
in my ears.
And it might be about the guy from the Menzinger, so that's nice.
Oh yeah, oh lovely.
But yeah, it's a really like varied album. Like I say, it doesn't maybe have that like I don't know, tightness of the Menzingers in terms of sound, but that's not an insult. It all sounds like them. Like that is their sound.
Yeah, yeah.
But like
Touch more raw.
just
innit?
wrote a few down. Like Beer Can is almost like they were trying to do a upfront like pop punk song. They sort of can't manage it in a positive way because everything ends up coming out sounding like them, and like it's got everything they do. It's got these really moving melodies. Like their melodies are really simple and really effective, like really moving. There's something about his melodies that I just loved. So yeah, even Beer Can, like with the title and everything, I was like, I feel like you were trying to do like this is going to be our fun pop punk song, and it's like, no, it's still quite moving, lads.
It's a bit more uplifting.
You cannot help yourselves, and that is definitely a positive. And yeah, like You Have Flaws was a bit more math rocky, but not in the same way as like Adultery, more like the upbeat math rock we like They're There and that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Every song's got its own
Yeah,
personality.
definitely. Like Lake's a bit screamy and epic. There's a 1-2 in the middle of is it Montreal and Tequila Joe? Look, both just like really moving, like really lovely songs. Montreal especially is lovely. I love that song.
Nice.
This is great.
I'm loving how much you're loving this, because I think this is genuinely, when we were joking, like, or not joking, but like we rewrote the intro to the podcast on our bios and stuff like that, and Ben actually put in that, and we were it always was the joke that the whole reason we started doing this was so we forced each other to listen to bands as opposed to just putting a heart emoji on them on WhatsApp. And this is genuinely, I think if I go back for our WhatsApp or something, one I sent to you, and I'm 99% sure you put a heart emoji on it, and obviously maybe you just listened to Adultery, but was definitely one I was like, Ben's gonna love this, and I had none of the context of the Menzingers thing either, which that would have been my pitch otherwise.
It's a good pitch. It would have got me. But then even then I might have just expected like a watered down Menzingers. Because actually you say, they're brothers in so-and-so, but I haven't heard of them. It's like,
expecting
okay, is this going to be like the worst sibling rivalry on earth? Like, it doesn't always work out. But actually, they've really like plowed their own furrow. I don't know what the phrase is. But yeah, it's something like that. Anyway? I don't know. But yeah, it's just a great album, man. Part of me was thinking it was going on too long, but then the last two songs are like Bit of Divorce, which is beautiful. And the last song's huge. I can't remember what that one is, but Shoddy Workmanship, wasn't it? Because that's the best title.
Great titles though. I know we always get onto this anyway.
Yeah, I would say song title wise, it's like fine, generally fine.
I really, I think
they're all
good.
Quite.
Shoddy Workmanship
is the best, and I really like that. But then there's like what You Have Flaws, Lake, Beer Can, Brother.
Yeah, I quite like them. They're a bit random.
Montreal.
Like some of them are like make sense to the song, and others are a bit random.
Yeah,
like I like that.
Is it More Tequila, Less
Adultery
Joe or something like
harsh,
that?
Doesn't it?
Which I think is an American thing.
Yeah, More Tequila, Less Joe.
So they're fine. Like we always struggle with that, really, don't we? Because song titles in general are just fine.
Yeah, they are. I think we thought this was going to be a thing, and it isn't. I think we're on podcast 10. I think we might talk about it sometimes, but I think it's going to be less.
Yeah, it turns out
because it's definitely. We thought it was going to be.
It's rare bands have good song titles, isn't it? They're always just fine.
Yeah,
I think band names is a better way to go. We haven't really discussed band names much, but.
All right, let's do that. I like Captain We're Sinking. I think that's good.
I do like it. I don't think it's like...
It sounds a bit more fun pop punk just because of Captain.
Yeah.
No Captain John.
Yeah, I think that maybe, which is not their fault. I don't know if it's maybe... Is it slightly local band or is that a bit harsh?
It is a bit.
Yeah. I don't know. Band names are so weird, aren't they? I don't really know. It didn't strike me as brilliant, but I don't know why not. I couldn't really tell you. There's nothing wrong with it at all.
Yeah,
it's nautical again. We've talked about how pop punk kids are obsessed with nautical stuff for some reason.
It has good punctuation. It's and this is why it throws me off as well, because like Captain, no Captain,
Yeah.
Chunk. This is Captain, we're sinking,
Right.
not Captain, we're sinking. There is a comma
Oh,
in it.
okay.
It's not on Spotify, but on the album cover, which we'll go on to, because I think that's quite a versatile. I don't know why it looks like, to me, I always imagined this was a little girl with the face of a sort of stone tiger.
Yeah, it's quite scary.
Yeah, I think I quite like it though. And the background does look like the future is actually
Just press
cancelled.
play.
There's a bit Mordor in the back,
Yeah.
in the back right.
It's like a nice
It's
watercolor,
grim.
isn't it?
Uh, yeah, slightly
With like
grim. It's a
collagey.
bit like a grim Banksy Lord of the Rings
It is
mashup.
good, actually, isn't it?
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
it. I think I like it. I think I'd have that up somewhere.
Yeah, I think I would. Maybe not the living room.
It's quite artsy. It's quite
Maybe
artsy.
just because it is a bit scary. But yeah, I definitely would.
Kids in my
Downstairs
house, I can't
toilet,
do that.
spare room. Probably.
There are
Yeah.
go-tos. That's us giving it a 5 out of 10 when
Yeah,
we say downstairs
basically.
toilet.
So maybe landing. I think landing's versatile.
Yeah.
You could go either way,
True.
the old landing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's good
Agreed.
though. Good
Agreed.
font. Like I say,
Yeah.
bleak album title. And I didn't find it a bleak
Yeah, I feel like the cover goes
album
with
at
it.
all.
No, me neither.
Mm.
It's Menzingers. It's slightly. It feels like slightly depressing in some of the like things that they're talking about or whatever. But sometimes it lifts.
Yeah.
The music lifts. It's not always down. There's uplifting bits in each of the songs in most of them. So yeah, no, I feel like it battles through
Yeah,
that,
definitely
like,
that.
and it's not.
Yeah, again, I think
It's
it's
not too emo.
moving, not depressing.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
there's something about the quality of his voice and again the melodies and the
Oh, yeah, he's
lyrics
got
is just
a
something
beautiful
that I
voice.
find I find very affecting about all of it, and I really like it. And I will listen to it
Nice.
again and again, I imagine.
Oh, I listened to it this week as well. I generally re-listen to the ones that I've recommended to you, just so they're like fresh in my mind or whatever. But yeah, I re-listened to this twice this week, so
It's a banger.
shows that I obviously think it's a banger.
Yeah. I definitely
Um,
recognize. I'd recommend the one afterwards.
Okay, I'll spin that. I haven't
'Cause
done that
again, I
yet.
think I got obsessed with one song called Water on that. That is such a tune.
Got ya. I'll check that one out. Which is called
King of No
The
Man.
King of No Man.
It's
Yeah,
just
there,
bleak
got it.
again, lad.
Yeah, no, that's probably
Keep it
great.
light.
If they were from the UK, I think they'd be Northern.
Yes.
Um,
Yes. I don't know what that means, but
that
yes.
bleakness about it. I just offended half of the nation. They know. It's a bit bleak. Go on then. What are you giving it
I'm
out of
gonna have to
10?
go big 8, I think.
Oh,
I can't-
nice.
9 feels too nice.
I'm going 8
Yeah,
as well.
but big, good 8. A good 8.
Just a great
Yeah.
album. Yeah, just
It's
a
really
great
good.
album. Not seminal and not going in my
No,
favourite of
exactly.
all time. But I've heard this. I probably heard this 10 years ago,
Yeah.
and I'd say yearly it gets played a couple
Oh,
of times.
and it will for me,
Like, so
honestly.
you can't knock that.
Like,
Yeah,
I can't fault it. I was trying not for any reason other than, if I should try and find a fault if we're going to do this.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I can't. I've got nothing. Like, it's really good. Really good. Maybe a different opening track. That was about it. But keep
Yeah,
that.
and more akin to the vibe
Yeah,
of the album.
but pop that. Track
Mhm.
9. It's fine. So yeah, 8.
Just do that on Spotify. Make a playlist of the whole album, but start with Brother
Yeah.
and put that track 9. There you go.
Like an
Fixed
absolute
it.
maniac.
10.
What a loser.
Kind of thing you'd do, definitely.
Yeah, I'm quite bored.
Nice.
Love it. Thanks for that. What did I give you to listen to? For God's sake.
For God's sake, you gave me RX Bandits. The
Yeah.
name of a band that I'd not heard RX Bandits. I don't think I'd heard them at some point in my life. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I definitely, but I couldn't tell you a song of theirs.
i.e.
think
the perfect pick for this podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I should have listened to them.
Yeah.
I've seen their name on festivals that I've gone to. They've supported probably someone I've seen, like that kind of stuff or whatever. And so many bands I listen to have referenced them, and I was like, for some reason, I've just never listened to them. And when you recommended them, I realised that I confused them with Phoenix TX or whatever they're called.
that is
And I was
very easy
like,
to do, and I think I used to do back in the
it's the
day.
names.
It's
They're
just the
very like,
X's.
because it's, yeah, yeah, and two letters and then a
Yeah.
word and two letters kind of set up.
Then they were
It
on
was
drive through at the
same.
same time, so they're all on the
Oh,
same
bloody hell.
compilations.
That's lazy from drive through.
Imagine not getting signed because of that.
It's just your name, boys. It's got too close a combination.
RX Bandits already changed it once. They were the
Did they?
pharmaceutical bandits.
What?
I know. Then I think RX is
Really?
like a brand of pharmacy in America, or a chain, sorry.
Ah,
Weird name. But it
random.
works.
What a
Like if you
random
don't know
name.
it's one of the rare names where if you don't know the context, it works well. And if you do, it's
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, it's awful. I
Yeah.
thought it was quite a nut. I thought it was like, isn't RX like radio controlled cars, or is that RC? Oh yeah, RC.
I
Don't
don't
worry.
know.
I thought it was like some sort of reference to like some sort of geeky thing like remote control cars. It's not. It's pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, better.
Even better. Very American. My initial thoughts on this
Hit
were,
me.
Jesus Christ, so many bands I listen to this band. Like,
Yes.
but straight up, like we were just saying before, obviously we did Captain Was Sinking, and you said they listed RX Bandits. I got towards the end of this and then I listened to all of this, sorry, and then put Captain Was Sinking on, and was immediately like wrote down, oh my God, how have we like recommended two bands that cross over a little bit? I think
Yeah.
definitely they've listened to these boys or been influenced by them. I always say boys and girls, whoever. But yeah, I was just like instantly, even some of the more poppier bands that are like more pop punk bands that I listened to, there was a song and the chord progression sounded like a Good Charlotte song that I remember from when I was like
Oh,
really young.
really?
And I was like, this is mad. Like they actually sound, and they used to be a bit scarry back in the day.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is mad. Like how many bands have overlapped in this space? There's bits I always mention. Hot Water Musical is one of my go-tos because they're a band I really like. But that kind of thing. Bayside, I was like, Bayside must have been obsessed with RX
Yeah,
Bandits.
surely.
They've not got the scar bit, but like they must have been obsessed. Yeah, Good Charlotte, Captain Was Sinking. Like, yeah, immediately I was just like, this band, that band, that band. All definitely listen to them. That kind of second wave of this kind of like pop punk kind of bands. Or I don't know, is it ska punk, ska punk rock? I don't know how
Yeah,
to
like they
describe it.
started off really ska RX
Yeah,
Bandits, um, and then just kept progressing. Really, like yeah, that's why I love them. I think because I was a ska head. I'll admit it.
we
It's a dirty
know.
word now, but I
Ben's
loved
got a
it.
saxophone.
Yeah, I
We
played
all
saxophone. I
know.
basically had no choice because I played saxophone, so I had to join a ska band, and I loved it at the
Fair.
time. And I think it's still got its place.
Oh, it's
I think
fun, isn't it?
it gets some shit, man. But yes, in the same way I love unapologetic pop sometimes, ska can
Hmm.
be brilliant. But then the
Oh
Bandits were
yeah, I
always
don't
like a
disagree.
better. They,
It's
they
like,
they were like straight up ska, but they were always a slightly better version anyway. And then they just kept progressing. It kept getting
yeah, they
weirder
were definitely.
and more techy and more soulful. And I love them. Yeah, but yeah, sorry, go on.
um, they, but yeah, like I think straight up on it, first three songs, I was like, yes. Why have I never listened to RX Bandits before?
Yeah,
What have you been doing with your life? A little bit, because I was just like, these three songs are so me. Like I said, like with it's Hot Water Music Against Me, Menzingers, like, and all of this kind of stuff. And I was just like, yep, I'm all over this. I was at that point at end of song three. I was like, yeah, I'm going to see them when they come over with them.
yeah.
Like that, I love this, and I'm gonna go and listen to every album. Then I'm less of a ska head than you. Then the trumpets kicked in. No, I'm joking. But it did a bit. It does put me. It does. I just sometimes, and it went a bit. I think that the third song, "Overcome,"
Oh
it
yeah,
went. It went well. Fuck the power, politicians in the streets, kind of like that kind of scary kind of thing, which I just doesn't resonate with me. Like, and it went. It doesn't not resonate. I like some old bands like it immediately that reminded me a little bit of like the Clash, like Police and
yeah.
Thieves, and like the Police and stuff like that. And I like some of those old bands like that. But for some reason, it just doesn't. That song, I was like, ooh, like
Do you know, it's
for me, it just
weirdly,
did found it jarring.
yeah. So I re-listened to it obviously, and I love this album, and I'm sort of with you, and I loved that song for
Oh,
years.
really?
And listening to it now, I don't know if it's just because politics is so bleak now, like, and it's always been a bit bleak, but now it just feels like, so I'm all for political punk and I think it's important. But this song now just felt a bit like quaint and a bit like GCSE politics. Do you know what I mean? It was just like, oh, everyone just be nice. It's like, yeah, it's not really that. And he's like a
Yeah,
genius, Matt Embry. I'm sure there's songs he would write now that would be so much more
yeah,
eloquent
yeah.
and making points and stuff. But yeah, it did feel a bit like, come on, guys, let's all get
GCSE
along.
politics.
Yeah. So I'm totally with you, and especially because those first three songs are like really exciting and like,
Yeah, like
yeah, and
proper
I
punk
actually found that
rocky,
as
like
somebody who loves
really
this
good.
album, I found
Yeah,
there is a
yeah,
bit of like a dip, and yeah, maybe could have put it together a bit better. I don't know, maybe it's the ordering, but it's really exciting to start, and then yeah,
because it
oddly,
starts off like on one, and I was
yeah, like
like,
the first
yeah,
song is
like
perfect, isn't it? What an opener, bloody
yeah, and
hell.
I was like wicked, and then yeah, and then it went back to like after that song, it went back to kind of like a bit more fun punk rock slash
Yeah,
ska kind of bits, like I put like a punk rock police,
yeah, yeah. There's
and I
loads
like
of
the
police in
police,
there.
and I like punk rock. I'm not sure if I like them together.
Never the twain shall meet.
Yeah, exactly. Uh, and I think there was taking chase something
Oh yeah,
serpents.
it's
I
the
can't remember the
serpent.
full name of the song. I There was like the beginning of that. He literally starts and it goes into the chorus, and I think the chords are the same as Roxanne, the
That's
police song,
so
or
Roxanne,
similar.
that one.
And I literally was like, I went in the car, I went Roxanne, and it just did, and it didn't do it, which was disappointing. But it felt like it was going to,
It's
and that's
uncanny, man.
yeah, that's when me.
Yeah, you are uncanny. See, I love that song though. I love the horn line. If you're not into, yeah, I mean, I love the
Hmm.
more soul. Like those ones are less ska for me and more like sort of soul-y,
Yeah, no, they
like
are.
proggy soul. I always think of them as now the
Hmm.
stuff they're doing now, really.
Yeah, I
So I
didn't
love that
mind
one.
it. I didn't
But yeah, I'm
mind
with
it,
you.
but I think where it started like a really good punk rock like record, and I'm not saying it isn't, but like where it started like that, I got really excited by that I was
Yeah,
gonna get 12 fucking like songs just
rages.
yeah banging at it, and it always sounds like we're talking about something completely different. Sounds like they're on the Love Honey podcast, but raging bangers. But yeah,
We're not the guys for that.
I thought it was gonna just thrash through like that basically, and yeah, and then it went a bit too scary and a bit too. Yeah, I find sometimes that a bit sickly. It's probably the best
Yeah,
word I'd use for that kind of stuff. Um, so yeah, I enjoyed it, but yeah, I don't want to say the trumpets ruined it, but
no, that is fair.
for
Yeah,
me, yeah, like I'll rate it in a minute, but yeah, I enjoyed it. I think it was a great recommendation. I'm glad I finally listened to them.
yeah,
Like, if I'm being honest, sorry, I'm just putting up the track list in the background. Um, Great album title. I like the Resignation.
it is good, isn't
That
it?
kind of feels political as well, but
Yeah,
without being
exactly.
too crazy.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I do
I'm
get it
just
though. Like,
yeah.
if you're not a hornhead like me,
Again, welcome to
into
the
I
Love Honey
bloody love a
podcast.
horn, like a really good horn line. I think Scar doesn't often do good horn lines; they're normally just a bit dumb. But like a good, like funk one or soul horn line is so
Hmm.
satisfying. I think, and
Yeah,
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 RX
yeah.
Bandits do such a good horn line. They're
I've got
so
another.
catchy.
I've got a band now. I've just suddenly thought of. I can't remember the name of the bloody band, but they're like 4 years strong with trumpets.
Oh, that sounds
I
fun.
need to send you them because they are very good.
I mean,
And I think they've only got an EP or something, but
yeah,
it is a banger. And they do all the on all the chugs. They've got like trumpets.
that sounds ludicrous.
It sounds mental.
I mean,
It's a bit Marmite, but
yeah,
I think you might like it.
amazing.
Um, and some of the song titles are a bit political as well, aren't they? I guess like trying
Yeah,
to be like down that like newsstand. I'm guessing like and like the serpents reference. I'm guessing is some sort of maybe down that.
yeah.
Um,
Dinner dog, the inevitable onset of lunacy.
there are some random ones on here.
This is the prog coming out, I think. There's also some.
Overcome with recapitulation. What is that? What does that even mean?
I haven't got it up. Is it
Um,
recapitulation?
Recapitulation. Thank you. That's because you can't read, Danny. Um,
Yeah.
Prophetic.
Yeah.
Ben, you are absolutely prophetic.
Thank you.
Again, don't know what that means. Yeah, I think the song titles fit. And yeah, this is why we're not doing this as a feature anymore, because there's not much to say on it.
No, Never Slept So Soundly. That is a
I like that. It's
genuinely
good.
lovely song, I think.
It is a good song. It is a
Yeah,
good song.
like
That was
really
when I kind
sweet.
of I swung back in towards the end a little bit,
Yeah,
uh, but I definitely got lost a bit in the ska.
it is an hour
Uh,
long as well, which is easily the longest thing I've given you. We love on it.
First sponsor, second sponsor
Bloody
coming.
hell.
um,
Ridiculous mugging.
um, album cover. It's quite. It's like it's very of the time.
It's of its
Like
time, isn't it?
I feel like there's a System of a Down and Hot Water Music, funny enough, album cover that look exactly like this.
Yeah.
And I described it as, yeah, like System of a Down, Hot Water Music. There's definitely two albums like that. I can think of quite a few bands with that kind of vibe, which is like some sort of weird like medical drawings, like cut out of a newspaper and stuck down on paint.
Yeah.
Um, I put, I wrote down, which I'm quite proud of actually, as a little joke here. Pritt Stick Picasso.
It's very good. I'll do them next week.
But it's got that kind of vibe about it. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of got medical-y kind of like there's a spine on the left and
Yeah.
like
I've never looked at it
some
that hard
lungs and
before.
like a weird X-ray.
It does quite
So
90s
someone,
hardcore, actually, like
it does.
Vision of Disorder or Coalesce or something.
Oh yeah, nice references.
There's some names for people.
Yeah,
I like it as a bit of art. I don't know if it matches the album. I've not thought about it much, really.
I could put that in the hallway in my house, but we're quite gothy here.
Yeah, I couldn't. That would look mad in my
Yeah,
house.
your house is quite white.
It's white walls and that monstrosity. Welcome.
Please get it. Please get this and put that up. I'm gonna buy
Okay,
you
we'll have a
this
shit
record.
fit.
So yeah, overall, rating wise, this. I'll give it its actual rating,
Right,
and then
go on.
I'll give it its other rating. I will give it a 7 because
Okay.
it was good, and
Yeah.
I just it is a touch long for me, and my heavily TikTok influenced attention span, and the playlist attention span almost.
Yeah.
I'd give the punk rock first three songs a 9 though. I
Amazing.
loved it. I
Yeah.
like literally was like so excited. I think that's why I was even more disappointed when it was like
Yeah, exactly.
something I wasn't that into on the Scar stuff. I'd give that. It was just Scar for me. I'd give that
Yeah.
5. So
So
that's
that
why I've gone
EP,
down the middle as a 7.
the first 3 song EP is getting a 9.
Mm-hmm.
I do get it. If you're not a Scar, oh, God, gotta stop saying Scarhead. It sounds like such a twat thing to say. But Scar is so polarizing. Like, and I totally get why
Yeah.
people don't like it and what people think it is sometimes. It
Mhm.
not
Yeah,
isn't
yeah.
necessarily like, I don't know. But yeah, so I totally get it. If it's not your vibe, it's going to be
Yeah,
a hard
yeah,
listen for an
100%.
hour.
It
But
was.
I reckon this is a 9 for me.
I really.
They're one of my like one of my go-to band. Have you got like I don't know what you call it, like Mount Rushmore bands where they're on your
Yeah.
mountain?
Like seminal. Like they
Yeah,
were just
but
a
I've probably
massive impact on you.
got
Yeah.
like 10 of those where it's just like
Mhm.
it's a non-discussion if they come over, like we're going to the gig. So yeah, I think
Mhm.
they're one of those for me. Like they were such a big deal to us in like various bands. That's what I love about them because I was in a ska band, so they influenced that. But then I was in
Yeah.
like a, like a whatever, nobody knows who this is, but whatever Scream Shout were, like a kind of hardcore, techie hardcore band.
Fugazi kind of. I don't know.
Yeah.
A bit of everything at the driving. He's
Yeah,
kind of.
but
Yeah,
they were like a massive
shoegazy,
influence on us
hardcore.
as well.
Yeah, I bet.
And that still made sense because they're a
I'd say the
fucking
first 3 songs reminded me of, but where I hadn't listened to these and then was in a like punk rock band or pop punk rock band with you guys. I was definitely like, oh, I can tell the boys, the guy or the boys. I shouldn't say the boys because there's Rosie in the band. But that's I could tell these lot listened to RX
Yeah.
Bandits.
yeah,
That was
exactly.
like some of the riffs coming through and like the guitar stuff. I was like, this
Yeah,
makes sense.
100%.
Do you know what I mean?
Such a big
Mhm.
influence. So yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
definitely a 9 for me. It might be another case where the album after is slightly better. I thought this
All right.
one made more sense and was when they started, being a bit more expansive and stuff. So this one definitely makes more sense as a go-to. But yeah, the one
Okay,
after
cool.
is just superb.
All right, I'll jump into that. I'll give it a spin.
But yeah, it
Um,
might be. No, it's not more Scarry. It's more techie, if anything. And they've just continued on that path. God knows where they'll go. It's great. Like, yeah, his EP is just genuinely weird. It's great. I love him.
all right, I'll check that out.
Good stuff.
What are we recommending for next week? I've got mine. Are you ready?
Yes, I've
I'm
got
I'm
something.
prepped. I'm prepped. I'm
I'm,
going big.
I'm
We've done
going.
10 episodes and
Oh,
I'm going big.
that's
Like
interesting because I'm
big.
going small. I actually am.
That's good.
It's a band I have no feelings about particularly, and it's a
Oh,
new
okay.
album. And
All right.
I'm
Do
just
it.
interested to know what you think about it because it feels like it just scratched an itch for me and came out at the
Oh,
right
okay.
time. And they've got
Go on
quite an
then.
interesting backstory, but I'm not sure it's any good. So I'm like, I love it, and I'm like, oh, I don't know if it's actually that any good or if it's just, I think it's just filled something I needed filling in me. So I thought I'll get Daddy to listen to it and see
Go on
what he
then,
thinks.
drop it. What is it? What are we talking
It's the
about?
Barbarians of California album. As if you haven't heard
Barbarians
of it.
of California.
Yeah, it's their debut album. It's
Okay.
fun, man. I'd say it's a gym one.
Oh, okay, nice.
It's not like
Perfect.
super heavy, but it's fun. It's fun. And then I'll tell you about
Okay.
their weird backstory.
All right.
What have
I'm
you got for me?
going I'm going, which was one of the conversations that I think sparked this podcast where you referenced this. So it's number 11. It's technically not. We're actually on like 13, aren't we? I think
Yeah.
next week because we are completely technophobes and managed to lose two of the episodes.
No, it's because of the
But
things you said. The awful things you said.
yeah, no one needs to hear that.
Like, scratch that. Not all of them are
Uh,
like that, Danny, actually.
those people, yeah.
Norwegians he was
um,
talking about.
Paramore,
Oh, this is perfect.
Paramore Riot.
Yes, 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 yes. I hated them for no reason, and I don't now, and I'm not an idiot. But
That
I
was a
did,
proper
and that's
elitist
why we're
hate on
doing
them,
this.
wasn't it?
Just gonna write. I don't know why I'm writing that down. It's quite a famous album, but
I
just so I
think you'll
remember.
remember it. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, huge! Oh, I'm looking forward to listening to that because I know that one.
Nice. I think you'll know a few actually.
Yeah, probably, probably.
Go on, what's this? Give me something on Barbarians of California, quick, before you ruin the facts for next week.
I don't know
Just
whether to
a
drop the
little.
big fact though.
Don't drop
Is
the big
there?
fact.
Well, yeah.
Oh no.
Oh, I
Oh,
don't
go on
know.
then. Do it. Do
Basically,
it.
it's
Go
a
on.
hardcore band that's been started by someone I would not expect to start a hardcore band. But I don't
Love
even,
that.
even know if you'll know who it is. But
Okay, don't tell me who it is, and I'll listen
okay,
to
I
it, and
won't. You
then
might not.
if
It's
I
not
can
like,
figure it out.
yeah, it's not Justin Timberlake or anything. But I think you'll
Oh,
know who it is. And I didn't know he was into hardcore. And
nice.
it's
Okay,
fun.
I've got time for that.
Yeah, there
All
you
right,
go.
sick.